Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis here, and Season of the Hunt started today. That is the name of the season for Season 12 with Beyond Light. And what we're going to be talking about is basically the activity that we have so far for Season of the Hunt, and kind of the best way to optimize maxing out your kind of activity and basically the vendor involved in that. So when you log in, you're going to see accessing Season of the Hunt. Just a reminder, if you are a new player, you must complete the New Light campaign on Cosmodrome. You also need to make sure you complete the first mission on the moon and also on the Tangled Shore, which it will not require, by the way, the Shadowkeep or the Forsaken campaigns. Both of those missions are free because that's your introduction to the planets. So theoretically, you can just have the Season of the Hunt season pass and still have access to this. Once you're logging in, first thing you're probably going to see is Season of the Hunt pop up. It's going to say Answers of All This Call. So what you're going to do is head to the moon, and you're going to see a little thing on your director that says Osiris found on the moon. So if you go over to the moon, you're going to see Trail of the Hunted. Join Osiris on the moon for his hunt of vengeance. I'm not going to tell you what happens in this mission. It's pretty straightforward. Just kind of follow the little GPS dot through the moon, and you'll basically bump into Osiris and get a little preview of what's to come. Once you get done with that, it's going to tell you to basically head to the Tangled Shore, and you're going to want to go visit Spider, which is the main vendor on the Tangled Shore. Now for him, what you're going to notice is the fact that once you get done with the cinematic with him, kind of his like verbal discussion of what's going on and who the character is that we're talking to, which is the Crow, which some of you may or may not know. The Crow was Uldren Sov, which is Queen Mara Sov's brother, and he's the one who basically ended up killing Cade in the previous expansion Forsaken. Spoiler alert, but it's been 2 years. Either way, he was killed, and he was brought back to life as a guardian. So now he is a light bearer, per se, is what we are as well, even though we now have darkness. But he's a light bearer. He's got his, his ghost that's going to be talking to him and all of that stuff. And once you get done with the cinematic Spider, he's going to tell the Crow to go leave so you two can talk. So when you're done, the Crow is your new vendor for this season. When you go over and talk to him, he's going to give a little bit of a mention. He says, Ziva of Wrath's minions are a threat to business on the shore, and Spider wants to deal with them. Crow has cobbled together a lure from an old hive artifact. It seems to be effective at baiting out the Wrathborne, Ziva of Wrath's corrupted army. And basically what you're going to do is acquire the lure. So you're going to go over to his desk, pick it up. Once you acquire it, it's going to get on to the next step. It's going to say, configure the lure for Wrathborne hunt requires a lure charge. To obtain charges, bring your lure into the Crucible, Gambit, and Strikes. The lure begins partially charged, and you'll need to do the rest yourself. So when you actually get the lure and you pick it up, you'll see kind of two different things pop up once you get this. You'll see the lure is 66% charge. So 2/3 of the way through your first one, they're giving you a little bit of niceness. Now, you can do this in one of three places. You can do it in Crucible, you can do it in Strikes, or you can do it in Gambit. It's completely up to you. I haven't actually tested it in Gambit. I played one glory match, just because that's where I've been spending a decent amount of my time to get all the powerful drops that come from there. And I went from 66 to 99%. I wasn't quite done. So then, when I realized I was 99% done after that Crucible match, I was like, all right, let me try a Strike. I literally killed, the first decent-sized enemy in the Strike, and I finished that step. So it is based on seemingly like the enemies that you do kill, or at least maybe tag for damage. Strikes are obviously going to have quite a few more of those. And also the higher level enemies, like bosses and wanted level enemies, seem to count for quite a bit more. Put a pin in that because there's a very optimal method to do this right now, which I'll tell you guys in the end. Once you get through this step, you'll notice that you have the lure actually charged. So now I'm going to go into game and show you what happens once you get to this step. So once you've actually got the lure charged, you have to have it charged to be able to get to this point. And you'll notice mine says stored lure charges. I've got 3 of 3. You can store up to 3 at a time. So if you go through and farm Strikes or Crucible matches for a while, and you get the 3 lure charges stocked up, you can do 3 Wrathborne hunts back to back to back. And then you'll have to go charge it up again. Don't get me started about the cap on this one and the back and forth nature. I'm not going to deal with that. This is more just about being optimal. So when you come into the lure, you're going to have some different options. Now the upgrades come in time. I'll get to those there in a little bit. But the first thing you have to do is choose your prey mod slot. Now when you start, just like me, you're not going to have access to these two. These are hive options. Right now you're just going to have 2 fallen options. And you'll notice the package contents are going to tell you what they're going to get. And it seems to rotate through every time I do one of these. If I do a charge and I go, you know, kill Savik, and then I come back into my lure, it may change the rewards. It may change the order of things. This stuff is kind of jumping around a little bit, which is nice. You get a little variety of content. But this is basically going to be who I'm going to fight. Do I want to fight Savik, or do I want to fight HKD-1? One's a big servitor. One's a big fallen captain. I've fought them a couple times already. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and pick one of these. Say, I want to do this guy, Savik. And doesn't really matter because it's not powerful. I've used him up right now. Now, you'll notice over here, I've got one mod in the actual lure. I need 2 more. Now, when you start, you're not going to really have a lot of options. I've unlocked a few more by playing through and doing different activities, but when you start, you're probably going to have nothing. So all you really need to do is just go to Trophy Mod Dormant. It's just going to be an empty mod. We'll see there's nothing in there. Same thing here, Trophy Mod Dormant. Now, the thing about these is they can give you modifications to get different gear, stuff like that. I'll show you guys when we're done. So now that the lure is configured, you need to activate it near a Cryptolith. So let's go to the Tangled Shore, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. All right, so once you land, you can jump on your Sparrow, and we're going to drive past the usual public event area. We're going to go kind of around the top side here. It's not necessary. It's just one of the ways you can drive over here. Skip a few of these guys. Now I might turn around and kill just a couple so they're not shooting me in the back while I explain this to you guys. So, this is the very obvious thing that was not here previously, you know, before the season started. This is the Cryptolith. So now what you're going to do is hunt for the Wrathborne. Come up here, place your lure. This is going to start the activity. Now what's going to happen is the big boss is going to spawn. This is the fallen Wrathborne. And then what's going to happen, you're always going to have an enemy that has this little green glow on it. What's going to happen is if you can stand in this actual buff right here and not take too much damage, you're going to have this Wrathful buff. And you'll notice I'm doing a lot of damage to him. If I don't have the Wrathful buff, it's a much, much slower process. Once you do enough damage, he's going to leave. Now you'll notice I have 25 seconds. So if I begin tracking, what you want to do is look on the ground. You can see my little green tracking, whatever you want to call this, icky goo on the ground. Follow it along. And there's usually only a couple places I've had to drive. I'm going to go up this one, follow it up to the top. And if you go to the left, same thing. If you drive at a reasonable pace, you should be able to follow it. So once you get up to the top, same thing. Drive over here and just follow it along. So far, I've seen 2 different places. There might be a third later on. We'll just have to see. But this is just an example of one. You can drive and just follow it along, but I'm just showing you guys you don't have to do it too quickly, like you have to fly really fast. You can kind of do it at a reasonable pace and make sure you follow it decently. All right, so once we get over here, you're going to notice we get to this. So once you actually track it far enough, you're going to get the quest to follow up to the next step. Track the Wrathborne. Follow the Wrathborne, tracks the lair of Savik. I'm going to go ahead and kick this thing off. And it's actually going to take you into a mission. Now, you don't have to go very far. That's why I'm showing you this whole thing. Once you load and get inside, I am playing on PC in case that's a question. PS5 is probably pretty fast, same as Xbox Series X at this point. You're always going to have one little wall right here. It's not a big deal. Just take some type of damage to break it. Anything you use, you don't have to use heavy. I just did. Watch your step right there, and you're going to come around the corner, and you'll get right into the room. Doesn't usually take too long to get into these places. So once again, a giant Cryptolith is stuck in here in Surge's Rest. You're going to place the lure again. Now, same principle. You're going to have this little guy spawn first. Kill him pretty quick. So bring a decently heavy weapon with you. And then, once you kill him, what you're going to have is bigger stuff that spawns in. You're going to have the boss that spawns. He's going to have a shield on him. And right now, you'll notice he's immune. Now you're going to have these enemies that have the green glow around them. Same principles before. Once I'm wrathful, I'm actually able to do damage to him and able to break that shield. Now, these are tier 1 guys. That's why they're dying so quickly. Now, once you get out of the shield buff, you'll have 3 or 4 seconds of the wrathful buff. And he goes down fairly quickly. Again, these are tier 1. They're not meant to be that difficult. I'm going to run over and pick up, and you'll see a few different things on the side. You'll see that I got a little bit of core, I got the weapon that I was going for, and I also got an armor trophy mod, which we'll use to mod later.
fight on the line.
So let the voice dialogue finish up. Now let's get back out and talk about what just happened. All right, so now that I'm done with that Wrathborne hunt, you can come back into your Cryptolith lure. If you have multiple charges done, same principle. Come down here. This one is going to be for Savik, same dude I just fought, but this time I'm going to get recon data, which is actually a really good thing to go for if you see it, as my reward. So I'm not going to get a weapon, I'm not going to get a gear. Lore mutations are going to be these things that you'll put over here. Now, the mutations, as you unlock them, are going to be able to let you specialize your gear drops. So previously before, say I had a weapon and then I had a piece of armor. What you're going to be able to see in the weak mutations, you can see armor. All around going to be rolling with a higher average stat roll. So maybe it's something that rolls in the mid 50s, or maybe it rolls in like 60s or something like that. You also might get an armor that specs more into higher mobility stat. I've got a couple here that are going to go resilience, some strength, a weapon that might have, will include a stability masterwork, handling masterwork. You've got weapon will include velocity or a range masterwork. And you've also got certain things where you're going to exclude specific perks. If you put it in there, I'll show you guys what it means. I have to put a mod into this slot for it to show. So I can actually do that for you guys. I'll probably do the recon data because that's actually a good thing to earn to start. If you see recon data, my advice, always go for it, because as you're leveling up your lure, which I'll show you guys in a second, you need as much recon data as you can possibly get. So if you see recon data pop up, go for it. The loot will come later. Don't worry about that. So now, as you guys can see, there's nothing else I can really put in here right now because I don't have a weapon or a piece of armor, so these aren't going to change. But I also have one out here where I'm actually able to earn even more than I did previously. So each one of these is going to affect what you slotted in. If it's a weapon, you're going to be able to change stability, masterwork rolls. If it's armor, you might spec into different stats or give it better stats. And then the strong one is probably going to be even more specialized and let you basically really get a choice on your gear. So if there is certain gear, say there's a, grenade launcher that you want and you're trying to get a very specific roll, you can go for a handling masterwork potentially, and you could also have it, the roll that you're going for, maybe take 2 perks that you don't like, take those out of the loot pool, go for your drop, and it's going to help you really dial in on the loot that you're going for. Overall, I think this will be fairly cool. Right now, I'm just going to go do one of these just like this. But I'm not going to go run it right now. You guys have seen that. Now, when you come back to the Crow, back here, what you're going to see is you've got your bounties. You can always pick those up and work on those. The main thing is the lure mods and upgrades. Now, here's where you upgrade it. Now, when I started, I had to upgrade my reputation to unlock these different things. Now, you'll notice Improved Seeker unlocks the Hive Wrathborne hunts. So the Hive ones, which I think are going to be on the Dreaming City, are going to require this one. You have to get your reputation to rank 2. The reputation is right up here. Each rank of reputation, like rank 1, took 20 recon bits, whatever they're going to be called. I don't actually know, but they're those things that drop at the end. I'll show you guys in a little mission. I don't even know if here they are. So the recon data. The first level took 20. Okay. I've actually got 27 right now because I went through one of those hunts and actually got some extra, so that was a good thing. But each level takes 20. Each level that you unlock, just as long as you go do those hunts, you're going to be able to unlock these ranks. First one gets you more data from Wrathborne hunts. It got me from 4, and then it turned it into 5. But I also showed you guys the one where your reward is just recon. That one I ended up getting like 17. That's why I want to try that one again to see how much. So that's what I'm saying. If you get recon, totally worth doing it in the start. Second one is going to unlock the Hive Wrathborne hunts. Third one, this is where it gets important. It's going to increase the power of rewards obtained from Wrathborne hunts. It's going to take the amount of weekly powerful Wrathborne hunt rewards. It's going to increase the powerful drops from 2 to 4. So you get more powerful drops from this. So it's worth doing 4 times. And Crow's weekly challenge, which is going to take you doing 5 Wrathborne hunt kills. It's going to take that from a powerful and it's going to turn it into a pinnacle, which is going to help you as you get higher up to that 1250 level cap and push towards that pinnacle gap of 1260. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'm working on a leveling video now that we have most things for the season at this point. I'm going to do a full leveling guide for you guys coming up very soon. Reputation boost increases the amount of recon data obtained from Wrathborne hunts. This is boost number 2. So it stacks with boost 1. So if I got 4 and then I got 5 with this one, maybe this one will be 6. And then if I do one of the Wrathborne hunts where the reward is recon, maybe instead of 17, I'll get like 18 or 19. So they are going to stack and you'll get more as you go through this. So it should progress fairly quickly. Second to last one here, beneficial modifiers are activated in Wrathborne hunts. So you actually get benefits in Wrathborne hunts that are going to make them easier to do. Main reason that's probably going to help you out is because the Wrathborne hunts have multiple tiers if you go look at some of the triumphs. So some of these are going to be harder. I mowed through the first one. Some of these are going to be more difficult as you go. Finally, you've got increase the amount of mutation mods obtained from Wrathborne hunts. All of these mutation mods, you can buy some of them from him. So I can get the all-around armor. I can get the veto mod. I get handling. These two, I've got to unlock this thing. Same with the Hive Wrathborne hunts. To unlock these two other options, I need to make sure that I unlock this one. It's the next thing I'm going to do. Now, that kind of covers what you're working on upgrading, what you're doing, and what you're going for. The final piece is when it comes to this itself, the Cryptolith lure. I've configured it because I had a couple charges, but once you use up those charges, you have to refill this thing every 3 hunts. Now, as of recording this video, as of November 17th, when I started recording this video, there's a lost sector that you can get to fairly easily that has a lot of nightmare hunt level enemies. Now, I will tell you, if I'm going to go find places to farm this thing out, typically what I would probably advise is go do strikes. Now, the only thing with strikes, and if you're worried about saving your pinnacle for later, if it says Arc Singe, go into the strike with any other subclass, Void, Solar, or Stasis. Just don't go in there with Arc, and you're not going to check the box for the pinnacle. That being said, if you want to go run strikes, you'll probably get 1 charge per strike, roughly. You're going to see some wanted enemies in there. There's a lot of enemies to kill. You're going to kill the boss in the end. As long as you're actively playing through the strike, you're probably going to get about 1 charge, roughly per strike, that I noticed, at least. Strikes take a little while. But what you also can do is a bit of a cheese that we've got going right now, and this lost sector is just making hell for Bungie, so sorry in advance. What you can do is start off the Lake of Shadows lost sector and head over to Widow's Walk, and this is Lake of Shadows Strike. You can just pull it up from the directory right here and just go straight into it, base level. And when you load in right here in the Tross land, just go over to the Widow's Walk lost sector, and while these enemies are within a strike that you at least start in, even though they're in a lost sector, it considers them strike level enemies. So what's going to happen is there's a lot of nightmare hunt. There's a lot of nightmare stuff from like Shadowkeep, and they're considered like bosses and majors. And each one of those enemies is about 10% of your Wrathborne lure. So if you go into this lost sector, you'll be 50% done when you go into Widow's Walk. So let me show you guys what that looks like. And then from here, I'll finish explaining. So you can honestly go into Crucible. You can go into Gambit. You can go into Vanguard. There's a lot of enemies in Gambit. That one might be okay as well. Haven't actually seen it yet. But the Vanguard is, you know, pretty decent place to run strikes. So you could totally do that. But for optimal nature, at least as of right now, unless they change this, which I'm sure they will, we're going to load up the Lake of Shadows and we can show you what this looks like. So here we go. As I've been doing this tonight, I've seen a lot of people doing the same thing as well. So you might not be alone running in there. As long as you get some, you know, get in there, get some damage with the enemies, it still should count for you. So we're going to go into the reservoir and go check this out. All right, so once you load in, a lot of people may be doing the same thing. What you're going to want to do is come over here to the lost sector. Now, if people are doing the same thing, the biggest thing you need to make sure and do is just make sure everybody's on the same page. So everybody's going to run in. If everybody's doing it, or at least anybody involved, you can always take that little break in the stairs. And what you'll notice is there's going to be 2 Nightmare Shanks and then 1 Nightmare Captain. You can kill some of these guys in here. Not required, but, you know, makes it a little less chaotic. Now, up here, you're going to notice there are 2 Nightmare Shanks. What you want to do is kill the Shanks, do some damage to the boss. 2 more Shanks are going to spawn. And then if everything dies, you just killed 5, like, major level enemies. You can grab the loot if you like. No big deal, but sometimes you get some mods out of there. And then you can kill the last few enemies, and then you can usually leave. Once you're all on the same page, we can leave. And then when you run outside, what you need to get to is the point where you see Tross Land text appear in the bottom. And if everybody within your fire team is out of the lost sector at that point, the lost sector will reset, and you'll run back inside again. Usually literally just stand right here. I'll see him. The other guy's not even paying attention. Run back down, and we can do this again. And every time you do this, you're going to get about 50% of a lure charge. So if you do this about 6 times, you'll be good to go. And then you can go do 3 Wrathborne hunts. And again, this guy's playing a little nicer because he's actually going for some of these ads in here. There you go. Now here's a nice way you can throw your grenade, let this thing work. Try and get some of the shanks taken care of. He's going to town with a sword, which is really, really effective, actually. Grenade launchers can be a little on the risky side. And again, make sure you get the other shanks as well. Now, if you kill the captain too fast, the other set of shanks may not show up. And don't worry about that incomplete map data. That's just honestly an old quest. But yeah, you can wipe everything out in here. Come back out and do it again and again. Now, is this exciting? No. If you want to go run strikes for other stuff, totally go do it. You'll eventually get your 3 charges. And then you can go do your nightmare hunts. But if you're trying to be as like ultra efficient as possible, currently this works probably until Bungie patches it. If they do patch it and they do something about this, then I will drop a comment and pin it to the top. So look in the comments and see if this is updated before you guys leave this video. But that is how you do this efficiently. Let's finally wrap this thing up. So that basically sums up what we know so far about Wrathborne hunts. Now, if you come down here to Triumphs and you come down here to Warden, what you'll notice is you have your upgrades that you're going to work through. Defeat Tier 2 Fallen Wrathborne. We haven't seen Tier 2 yet, and I've killed both of these guys. So there's going to be a Tier 2 at some point. We've also got Tier 2 Hive Wrathborne hunts. You're going to go through Defeat Wrathborne while wearing pieces of seasonal armor. Make sure you're wearing some armor. You're going to have Defeat Combatants with seasonal weapons. So you've got the new Grenade Launcher, a Submachine Gun, Linear Fusion Rifles. Defeat Combatants with each Season Pass weapon, Scout Rifle, and Grenade Launcher. And then you've got a couple other things to do, and these are all the levels that you'll go through to get your Warden Season Pass. But that mostly covers it. So your goal with your Cryptolith lure is to charge it up. Probably easiest to get all 3 charges. Come inside, put your mods inside for whatever it is you want to go for. Once you know what you got to do, come back down here. It's going to tell you Tangled Shore Cryptolith triggered. Head over to the Tangled Shore Cryptolith, kick it off, lower that, the big enemy is going to spawn. Make sure you kill the enemies with that little green glow. Try and stand in that spot. If you got to kill a few enemies to make it a little easier to stand in that spot, then you can dump damage into that first phase enemy. Get it low. Follow the trail that it leaves on the ground. It's going to leave that green crap on the ground. Follow that along. When you get to there, you'll kick off the mission. You'll go inside the little area, usually not too far inside. Finish off whatever enemy you chased, which is going to cause that second enemy to spawn. And then same principle applies. You'll have a couple green glowed enemies. When they die, they're going to drop the Wrathborne buff, so you can do extra damage to those enemies. Bring something with you, whether it be a big heavy machine gun. Grenade launchers are pretty effective. Just be careful. If you do die, it's not a big deal. All you have to do, you may get kicked out of the hunt, and you're not going to be able to go inside. All you got to do is come back here to the Wrathborne, like the Cryptolith that's sitting there. Just head to it again, and you'll probably be able to start tracking once again. You may just have to follow it a different direction. Either way, that's basically it. And then your goal is to collect as much recon data as you can and try and dump it in for that next level. Now I got it up to level 2. As you can see, I come in here. I've got Improved Seeker. Now that one's acquired. I can upgrade these, and then the same principle will happen when I come in here, the Cryptolith lure. I've got to go take it out and use it. But again, now I've got the Hive Wrathborne punts that I can pick from as well. So hopefully this guide helps you out. Again, you can charge the lure wherever you like. You can go do Vanguard, Crucible, Strikes, whatever it is. But the very efficient thing right now, load into Lake of Shadows, run in and out of Widow's Walk, and if you've got anybody running it through that same thing with you, try and stick with them. If the boss dies and they start running out, try and follow them so they're not waiting on you very long, and you can make it as efficient as possible for each of you. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like below, leave a comment if you've got any thoughts, opinions. If anything changes with regards to this video, I will post a comment down below and pin it. If Bungie does something like nerfing this lost sector at some point, which I feel like they're probably going to do as it's been abused a lot lately, I will comment that as well. But if like Tier 2 comes out and if there's anything different to that, I will comment below, but I don't imagine it's going to be anything more than just harder enemies to kill. And other than that, you guys can find me on twitch.tv/Ebontis, twitter.com/Ebontis. But if you guys are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and the alert bell. That'll keep my future videos coming to you. I hopefully will be one of your people guiding you through Beyond Light and Season of the Hunt in Destiny 2. Thank you guys very much for the support. Drop a like below if you did enjoy the video, and I'll see you in the next one.